Last night when I got online with Yo Pickles, we had a little bit of a problem at the beginning. So I was like sweating bullets today, hoping that this would go well. You never know when it's your first time, if everything's going to go well, or if you're going to click the right button or turn something off. I know one of the first times when I hooked up with my friend Lexi at Gravy Live, we had kind of an issue with some of my equipment. So I think we're good to go, you guys. So we're going to give everybody a few moments to hop on that's still wanting to join us. And it looks like my 2 dogs now have decided to join me. Now that I'm actually talking and not being so quiet in the house, they decided that they wanted to be in here. So hopefully they'll be quiet. But super excited to have you guys here. Definitely, I know that it's early in the morning, and we tried at 10 o'clock today just to see how that's going to go for everybody with it being the promotion, and with everybody just launching yesterday. I definitely wanted to get on that as quickly as possible. So we're going to decide today going forward, what's going to be a good time. Do we want to do morning, or do we want to do the evening, or what? So anyway, let's give everyone a couple minutes. So, but I want to welcome you. Hey, yo, congratulations. Nice to meet you, Miss Candy Blog and Lexi. Yay, puppies. Yep, I've got I have a mini Australian Shepherd who we used to have, we used to have a mini Australian Shepherd that grown into like a full-blown gigantic Aussie. So I don't know what happened there, but we lost him. And so we got Merle, and Merle is crazy. Like we see all these Aussies and they're so well behaved and they're so good. And then Merle is just like out of control puppy. She's 4 years old and she's just as crazy as ever. And then we have Odie, who is a Shorkie. So it's a Shih Tzu and a Yorkie. And she is my baby. She was given to me at Christmas 7 years ago when I released my cookbook. Some of you guys know it, 75 Ways to Love Your Oatmeal. And it was right around Christmas time when I released it, and they surprised me with Odie for Christmas. And so I named her Odie after oatmeal. But she is such a godsend. She's such a good puppy. Obviously she's a lot older now, but she had babies last year and they were all just beautiful. She is like the best, most well-behaved dog ever. Okay, all right, so it is 10:03. Let's get going. First of all, there's some things I want to cover real quick. I know that your time is valuable, and I want to, I don't know how long we're going to go. I will go as long, up to an hour, as you guys have questions. So know that I will be here to answer your questions. I'm happy to do that. But ideally, I'm thinking that a good amount of time is like 30 to 40 minutes, maybe. Again, we'll just, this is our first one. We'll tweak it as we go and see what works the best for everybody. So just know that I know that your time is precious, and I don't want to just make you hang out for like an hour and a half. The short story, I entered a contest a couple of weeks ago where I was hoping desperately to get something, and I had to be online for the whole thing. And the guy who was doing it thought it was only going to take like a half an hour, and it was an hour and a half. And I finally I gave up. Who has an hour and a half? So anyway, I know that time is valuable. All right, so first, let's go over just some of the different things that you guys are looking at, because this is a brand new platform. I've been on here a few times now, and I'm just getting used to it, but it's pretty freaking amazing. So there's lots of fun things that you guys can do. So first of all, if you haven't already, one of the things that you'll want to do is up in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a blue follow button. What that does is when you follow that, you'll be kept in the loop with my show, so that you know what's coming up, what's going to be the theme, when's the next one, countdown, all that good stuff. So definitely do that, because that way you won't miss out, because there may be weeks when I'm out of town and maybe I move a show up or move it back or whatever. So that's the best way to keep in the loop. Join. Right now, there's just one membership level. So each one of us hosts have different things that we have to offer to our followers or to our customers. And so there's going to be lots of different perks. There's going to be special member badges. There's going to be special member episodes and live chat sessions. But then we can personalize it based on whatever our expertise is. So I'm going to have perks in there for custom meal planning, for perks to some of my sheet gear. I do apparel and gear, so I'm going to have some discounts there. I'm going to do some coaching and what have you. So if you want to learn about some of the special perks or things or membership levels. There's only one membership right now or level. Just go into join and you'll be able to read what I'm currently offering. So that's a fun one. And then down below the screen, you're going to see there's another blue question or a blue button that says ask a question. So you guys can comment all day long in the chat session, and I'm going to try to follow the best that I can. But if you want something to come up on the screen so that everybody, so I will stop dead in my tracks and I'll answer your question to make sure that I see it. Ask a question, and it does cost a fee, but it's a way to make sure that your question is noticed, and you can ask anything. So that is there. And then also, as you guys know, that this is like TV in the sense that it's free. So everybody who's doing this, we're doing it because we're passionate about it. We love what we do. We're excited. It's, this is kind of like the new thing. I'm super happy to be a part of it. But if you like what you're seeing, whether it be my show or somebody else's show, there's the tip button. And all that means is if you want to support the show in any way, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to. But I'm just letting you know that it is there. Okay. There, I think that we covered the ground rules. So who am I? So some of you guys do know me. I'm not new to social media by any means. I got into Facebook back in 2007. And it was brand new to me. I started this page, and at the time I called it Recipes for Gals in Figure and Bodybuilding. And honestly, when I started that page, I was looking to solicit recipes from other people because it was during a time when I was competing. First, I was early competing, and I was so tired of eating the same stuff all the time. So I wanted to get recipes from other people, hoping that I'd find some gems. Anyway, like I said, I was new to Facebook. I set that up, and I did not go back to Facebook for 3 months. And when I did, 3 months later, there were 3,000 people that were following that page. And honestly, I had not done a single thing. It was just completely organic, and people were commenting and sharing, and they had this little community, and they were having some fun with it. And based on my marketing and some of my PR experience over the years, I thought, I wonder what would happen if I actually, paid attention to this. And lo and behold, within a year, the page had blown up to about 150,000 people, and it was completely organic. Facebook has changed so much now. I mean, it's all about, promoting and advertising and placement. And honestly, I loved it back in the day when it was just a community where people could just share whatever they wanted to, and it would come up in the feed. And anyway, but that's how I got into social media. I since have changed the name of that because I'm not just looking for recipes anymore. So now it's all things fitness for gals. That is still there, but through that page, I became known kind of as Mama Gal. So all of my other social media relates back to Mama Gal. So on Instagram, I also have a decent, I'm very active on Instagram. I love to take pictures. I love to share. I'm an open book, as you'll find. And so there I'm Mama Gal. Anyway, but the one thing that I kept hearing or have heard over the years is my story relates to a lot of women, and they feel that it's motivational. So when I was talking to Lexi and some of the other people at Gravy Live, we decided that Motivational Mama, Mama Gal, would be the perfect name. So my goal with this show is I want to make it available for everybody. But I especially love helping and motivating and just being a part of the success in women's lives. And the reason being, as I'll share my story here in a minute, is because I'm 46, almost 47, and I've experienced a lot. I've been on both sides where I've been obese, and I've been, active and fit. And I've had a lot of struggles over the years with different health issues and stuff like that. And just women as general, there's women who support each other, and then there's a lot of women who don't, and they feel like the pie is only so big, and they're only willing to share so much, and they feel that they can rise up by tearing other people down. And honestly, I don't like that. I don't have time for it. I didn't like it when I was in high school. Didn't like it when I was in middle school, and I certainly don't at my age have any time for that now. So my goal always has been on every single one of my platforms is to build, just to build a community where women feel safe, where they feel invited, where they feel included, and when I say safe, it's a place where people can ask questions and be themselves and share, their successes, whatever they might be, but also share the real struggles so that they can, hopefully provide or find the support and the help that they need to overcome whatever it is. Because I personally know that when I was first starting out, when I was way overweight, that I really had to have that fire within, without a doubt. But if I didn't have the support of my husband, the support of my family, the support of my closest friends, honestly, I think that it would have been a lot harder. And we're surrounded now by social media and images and women and people that make their lives look so perfect that it can be so overwhelming and discouraging. So anyway, this page, this live show is all about us and us just supporting each other and hopefully having some fun. So, all right. Okay, so we talked about the platform. I've got my cheat sheet. Okay, you can't see that because it's not gonna focus in, but this is just to make sure that I stay on task. One of the things I wanted to announce right away is we do have a sponsor. Hey, thank you, Doug B. Ballin. This is Refresh to Go, and there's a story why I'm so happy that I actually get to have this be a part of the show. Again, if you know me and if you followed me at all, when I talk about my journey, and I talk about making one change, that was like the biggest thing that I tell people initially is make one change. Don't try to do too much all at once. And the first change that I made was I used to be a big time soda drinker. And I'm talking, yeah, in the later days, I was into Diet Coke, but oh my gosh, let me tell you, when Greg and I got married almost 26 years ago, we would have, there's a gas station here called Hearts, and we had these ginormous like Hearts, containers, okay? And I don't even know, like it was way more than 64 ounces. But we would, every day before work, we would go load that up with fully caffeinated sugar, cherry Coke or Dr. Pepper or whatever, and we did that consistently over years. And obviously we now know like how much sugar, and I knew kind of then too, but how much sugar is in soda. My first change I made was switching to water, and to flavored water. And early on, when I switched over, about that time, I switched over to Propel because it was something that was kind of new on the market and I really liked it. But just in hindsight, thinking about how many plastic cups or bottles that I went through, honestly, because I would go, I promise you, I would go through like 7 of those bottles a day. And yeah, I would go through the trouble of recycling them, but oh my gosh, still talk about so much waste. So this is exciting to me because I have tons of different water bottles, but these actually, they have a filter system. So that way you're not going through tons of different water or bottles. You're not having to, buy filtered water. Every single one of these, it comes with a little packet, and it does up to, how many was it? It will filter up to 40 gallons, and it says that that's up to 2 months worth of water. So that's pretty amazing. And every single bottle that they sell comes with 2 of those filter packets. So you're basically good to go with whatever for 4 months. So pretty amazing. But the other reason why this was kind of near and dear to my heart as I was reading up on it was that 25% of their proceeds goes to cancer research. And they released a number of different bottles, and with every single bottle, each type of bottle goes to a different kind of cancer research. Now, again, some of you may know this and a lot of you may not, but cancer is dear to me because my mom is my absolute best friend. She is my biggest fan. We've always been like 2 peas in a pod. And anyway, she has stage 4 lung cancer. So it's a hard thing, and I know a lot of you guys have dealt with it as well, whether it be within your own family or you or somebody that you know. But it's a disease that sucks. And so anything that we can do to support and improve the likelihood of our loved ones survive it, awesome. So I'm super stoked about it. And just so you know, at the end of the show, towards the end of the show, I'm going to be giving these away, and I will show you here in a second. You get like a huge set. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 6 bottles, all different sizes and colors, and then I got a ton of different filtration things like I was talking about. And so somebody here gets to have one. So we're going to do that a little bit later. Okay. All right. First of all, okay, Lexi, we're going to test this, you guys. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something that I posted this morning. This kind of tells you a little bit more about who I am. So hold on for a second. I got to share my screen. We're going to see if it works. Takes a minute. You probably see the little swirly. Thanks, Marky Mark. Yeah, cancer is not a fun thing. I tell you, it just turns your world upside down, and you think that you're close to your family, but when something like that happens, you reevaluate and you make sure that you're spending more time. Okay, so look, I think we're getting it. Okay, I'm going to show you. Bear with me. All right. Kind of intense when I talk about what my goal is. Oh, let's do it like this. That is a PowerPoint. There we go. This is me. I thought this morning, I loved it. Why hate on other girls when you can tell them how pretty their hair looks, or how bomb their highlight is, or how those spots are paying off, and watch their face. Media, but again, who am I? I am just your average mom. I honestly, I'm nothing special. I just happen to have had an experience that turned my life around and has provided so many opportunities that I feel compelled that I want to be able to share it with other people who were in my shoes and have now given up. So just to kind of give you some background, when I was growing up, I was pretty active. I was in some sports. I really enjoyed drill team. I liked volleyball. I steer cleared from softball because I was always scared that I was going to get hit by a ball. I played soccer a lot when I was younger, but then I never really, as a teenager, I never really had to work to be thin. I ate whatever I wanted. I didn't think about what I ate. And so, I was able to remain thin, but I was sometimes eating good food, but sometimes I was eating crap. I mean, let's be real. A lot of teenagers don't eat very well. And then I got married when I was 20 years old, and Greg and I moved. I was from north of Seattle. We moved down here to Utah. And, we were young and, barely making $5 an hour. And we were, living on a budget, and we ate like crap still. So, we were eating like the Lynn Wilson burritos. We were getting the chicken pot pies where you get 4 for $1. We'd get the shoestring pot fries, or you could get like a big bag for $1. And we were hitting Taco Bell on the regular. And I'm just telling you now that that was not a good thing. Maybe, you just probably saw my Aussie. It was kind of fun during that time, but when you're 20, 21, 22, that's fine. But by the time I was in my 30s, it had more than caught up to me. And, fast forward all those years, I climbed the corporate ladder. I worked at Franklin Covey for 7 years, and I had a really good job. I was making really good money, but I was still eating. I wasn't eating that kind of crap, but I was going out to restaurants a lot, and I was with clients a lot. I wasn't taking my food with me, and I definitely wasn't exercising because, I would get up just with enough time to get ready for work. And by the time I got home, Greg and I would go do something, and I was 170 pounds, and I was wearing right around a size 16, which might not sound, again, I know a lot of people who have lost a lot more weight and are heavier and what have you, but that was my personal worst. And I felt like I was really uncomfortable. I didn't like myself, just put it that way. I did not like myself at all. And I was really outgoing when I was younger. So anyway, when I was 170 pounds, I didn't like myself. I had liked being in pictures or taking pictures. When I was 170 pounds, I hated being in front of the camera. I ran. And I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends. We moved into a new neighborhood, and they're all amazing women. They're not catty at all, but they're all smaller. And so we would go do these things, and I would feel really uncomfortable because I had a hard time doing them. And to give you just a couple of examples, one time we went down to St. George, and some of you guys know that place. It's absolutely beautiful, red rock, like Arizona, just phenomenal. And there's arches everywhere. And in St. George, there's the narrows, the small narrows. And it's this little area, this cavern where you can climb through. And our little kids, I had Dakota at the time, he was little, he was able to just run through it just like normal and like all the other kids. And my cute girlfriends who were ranged from like a size 0 to maybe a size 6, they could go through it just fine, you know, kind of jimmying to the side, going through it, and they were done in a second. And well, I didn't want to be the one person who didn't even try. So I decided to give it a shot. Well, I kid you not, like halfway through, I got to a point where it was so narrow that like my boobs were squished up against me and everything was tight. And then I had to try to lift up onto a step, and, you know, because it was all rocky. And I sat there for about 5 minutes because I was having the hardest time doing it. And it was an awakening. And I had tears coming down my face. Because I was embarrassed. I mean, here were, you know, all of our little kids who were just running around thinking, what's the matter with Jenny? And my cute friends who they didn't know what to do or say because, you know, they got it. They understood. Like, you know, as a woman, we don't like it when we're not comfortable in our own skin. So that was one. Another time, and there were so many times, let me just tell you, but there was another time where we were playing with some friends out in the backyard, and we were playing this game, Shark. And it's a game where you put out all the blankets, and the kids, there's a shark, and then your goal is to be safe, is to run from one blanket to the next, right? That's how you play the game, and you're safe as long as you're on a blanket, but you have to move. You have to go from one to the next. And one of the husbands, and he's a dear friend of ours, love him, but under his breath, I heard him say, well, can Jenny do this? And again, I know that he didn't mean any ill will, but I heard that. And again, it was just one of those things. It's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want people having to make concessions for me. Like, is it really that bad? But in hindsight, you know, I remember, like, I would put on so much makeup, and I would do my hair, and then I had my frumpy clothes. But I would get my hair done, and I would do my nails and stuff. Like, I focused on everything except for my body, and I wasn't doing anything to help my body. Greg and I had tried a few different diets over the years. Like, we tried Atkins, which we thought was amazing at first because we could have all the butter and grease that we wanted. But about 5 days in, it was pretty disgusting because it was too much. We tried the Zone diet, kind of, meaning I picked up the book. We did the one that we were the most successful with is we did Body for Life, and we took the before pictures. Each of us lost about 20 pounds, which was awesome. But those cheat days turned into cheat weekends, and then cheat weekends turned into just completely falling off the wagon and never getting back on. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because any of you who have struggled with your weight more than likely have tried different diets only to give up at some point and just think, it's never going to happen. It's never going to work. And that's pretty much where I was. And I'm living in an area where, for the most part, outside of my cute little circle of friends, a lot of the women here, they give everything towards their families, and the family comes first, and that's a great thing. But in that, they lose themselves. And so the majority of the women that I'm surrounded by they're not heavy, but they're heavier. And so it's easy just to kind of assume that I got to the point where I thought, well, I guess that the best days are behind me, and that I'll just, I used to be fit, but this is me now, and I just need to deal with it. But I remember every time I would see like a Victoria's Secret commercial or whatever, I would just feel like, like I can't believe, I don't know. It was hard. So, and I'm guessing that some of you guys get it. So what happened? They talk about hitting rock bottom. I honestly think that happened. I had signed up for a couple of gyms, and each time, like one time was with my husband, and it was a really good deal. And it was like 9 months for $90. Some of you probably remember it. It's by University Mall. I think it was Lifetime something. I don't remember. But anyway, I don't think we ever went. I signed up again, never went. So it was all this money that just was wasted. We I was then approached a third time, and this was right about the time when I was having my breaking point, where I could buy a gym membership under another corporation, and for a really good deal. Well, I decided I was just going to sign up, go for it, and not tell Greg, because I figured if I told him, he would probably say, why is this time going to be different? And I would have thought the same thing. But I just knew in my heart that I was done. I was so done of making excuses and being embarrassed. So long story short, I signed up and I started going, and then I told Greg. And at the time, I actually had signed up with a girlfriend of mine because we were going to do it together. We were going to hold each other accountable, and we were going to work out every single day together. Well, about 2 weeks in, bless her heart, but she started making excuses on why she couldn't show up. And I'm going to tell you, like, that was a turning point for me, because, like, what's the temptation? Well, she can't go, then I guess I don't have to go. But again, I just knew that I was done and I had to make a change. So I kept on going. And within a couple of months, I wasn't doing anything on the weights at all. Within a couple of months, I was just on cardio. I was doing like walking and jogging. And I used to hate to run, by the way, just so you know. Like, I was the person back in high school and back in college, whenever we had to run the mile, I would not show up. I don't think I ever ran a scheduled mile when we had to back in school, because I liked short distance and I was in track, but long distance, I would always be like hyperventilating and feel sick to my stomach afterwards. So I just knew that I would never be a runner and didn't want to do it. So anyway, at the gym, I started, I was on the bike. I think I read the entire Twilight series on the bike, reading other things. And then I would walk on the treadmill, and then I'd try to jog. And before I knew it, over time, like, I was actually picking up the pace and doing it for longer periods of time. So within a few months, I'd lost 20 pounds and I felt sexy. Like, seriously, like when you lose 20 pounds, when you're 170 and you're down to like 150, I felt like out of control. Like, I felt so good. But I knew that I still wanted to lose more weight. So I hired the help of a trainer who's now one of my best friends, Luann. And she helped me within a year. Well, I approached her because, okay, just so you know, hindsight again, and I apologize, this is just information dump. If you guys have any questions, ask them. Best way to get my attention is here on the screen. But if you have questions or you want me to back up, let me know. But otherwise, I'll just keep on going, because the whole story is what shapes it. So there was this girl who was a trainer, and she was buff. Like, she was so cut, she was so ripped, and beautiful shoulders, and just like awesome, like total girl crush. And I knew that if I was going to work with a trainer, I had to work with her, because I was not going to be stuck with somebody else who didn't look like what I wanted to look like. I figured she knows what she's doing. So I approached her and I told her, I said, you need to train me. I want your arms. And for those of you who know Luann, you'll get this. She was a busy trainer because she looked so good. She looked at me, not knowing me, sized me up, and just was like, whatever, And she told me later it was because so many people, when they said that they wanted to work with her, would not follow through. They would not do what she asked. And so she just was kind of jaded. But she gave me a chance, and she quickly realized that I was serious. So whatever she told me to do, I would do. I would ask for more. I would be there working out on the days I didn't have to, and she would see me. And within a few months, my body started to transform, because not only was I doing the cardio, but I was trying to start, cleaning up my diet. And we'll talk about that another time as far as like specifics. But my body started to transform from the inside out, which is probably the most important way to do it anyway. And within a few months, she said, have you ever thought about competing? And this was my take on it, because competing is not for everybody. And at the time, honestly, I kind of wanted to laugh, because I was so far from getting on stage. But I figured, what do I have to lose? If she trains me for a competition, I'll probably, even if I don't get on stage, I'll look way better than I do now. So I just said, sure, why not? And my mom, just so you know, back in the 80s, she was a bodybuilder. She was doing it during a time when nobody was doing it. So that was kind of in the back of my mind. I kind of knew the industry a little bit, but I had never at all, not even once, thought about doing it myself. So anyway, but that's when things started to happen. And the reason being is I think that my mindset changed. I think so too. It's amazing what you can do to train your body. Like it's mind over matter. And my perception of what I could accomplish had to change first, because my mindset was pretty turned off for all of those years when I thought that I had to just kind of fall into the way of what everybody else was doing in the community. I had shut myself down. I said, I can't do this. And when I ended up losing about 60 pounds, and I went from a size 16 down to a size, for that first show, between a 2 and a 4. It's something lit up in me. It's like, oh my goodness, like I wasted all those years. What else can I do? And it's just, then it was like, I had such a new lease on life. I mean, that's when I got into nutrition. That's then I also got into CrossFit. So then I was trying to do this is way overkill, but for anybody who's lost weight, you probably want to take on the world. And that was so me. So I was doing the gym, I was doing CrossFit, and funny enough, I started running, and I got certified in both endurance and level 1. And that was super fun. I kind of got to, and then I did a couple of sprint triathlons with some friends in the neighborhood. The first year, just so you know, again, women's empowerment, we had 38 women in our neighborhood alone that trained for a sprint triathlon. It was a women's sprint triathlon, and it was awesome. It was so amazing. Like, we started out together, we ended together, like not during the course, but we took all of our pictures and stuff, but we did a lot of the training together. It was a pretty amazing experience. But then I was thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get into triathlons. And long story short, I way overtrained, and I was way too many things. I sold my bike after the first time I took a spill, and it wasn't even an exciting one. Like, I was standing, I was clipped in, and I was standing at a stop sign, and I fell down, scuffed up my knee, and I said, nope, done with biking. So I sold my bike. But then I just realized that you have to kind of pick and choose what it is that you want to do. And I found, after all of that my love came down to, oddly enough, definitely lifting, because I loved that, but running. So some of the opportunities that came my way at that point, I got big time into clean eating and oatmeal. So again, through contest prep, I realized how much I liked oatmeal, which is silly, but almost every single meal plan that I had. What do you listen to when you run? You know what? I listen to, so that you guys see the question that just popped up on the screen. What do you listen to when you run? I listen to sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. Like, sometimes I'll listen to, I'm active through our church. And so sometimes, especially if it's on a Sunday run, I will go out and I'll listen to a podcast from one of our leaders, something that's uplifting and just meaningful to me. I love that on Sundays. But what totally gets me going every time, without fail, is you're gonna think this is so dumb. I love disco. Okay, so disco, disco gets me going. But I like pop. I like hip hop. What? Are you surprised? Hey, I was born in the 70s. Like, my dad was the disco king. He used to wear the polyester, the big shades, the hair. Disco is so groovy. And by the way, this year for the Halloween run, that we have the haunted, so Halloween have haunted, I can't remember what it's called now. Dang it. Sorry, Runtastic. But I'm actually dressing disco. So I love disco. But I do love hip hop too. I usually listen to something that's a little bit more hardcore when I'm at the gym, just because I'm in my own head. But for running, I mean, I will listen to a lot of things, but disco, if I'm just not feeling anything, disco usually kind of gets me going. It is a good beat to run too. And it's something you can sing to too, you know, like it's something you can just enjoy. But so with running, so I have because of this, I went on, I started with some like shorter distance races, went on to some half marathons, did my first one in St. George, did my first marathon in St. George, but then found out that the more I ran, the faster I got. And at my older age, it was easier to qualify for some things. So I ended up running Boston 2 times. I ran Boston in 2011. I ran, good, I'm glad, Barnhouse, yes. Seriously, disco rocks, right? When I ran, I listened to, now you need to give me, okay, with country music, I need some good country ideas, because I like My dad always turns me on to a few of, like, I love Red Solo Cup because he's always drinking out of his Red Solo Cups. But you have to give me some ideas. Bollywood. Oh, I need to look that up too. But I ran Boston in 2011 and 2013. And we'll talk about this another time too. But I want you to know that I crossed the line. I was there for the bombs. That was in so many ways, that was the hardest marathon ever. I was injured. I crossed the line about a minute before the bombs went off. So that we'll save that for a completely different episode. But that was my last Boston. I would absolutely love to go back. In 2014, I ran New York. And that was my redeeming marathon, because since Boston was so hard, I really wanted to finish New York strong, and it was an amazing experience. And that was my last marathon. So I've done a ton of different halves. I got into OCRs. I've done a bunch of shorter ones. A couple of years ago, my cute friend Luann, again, the one that I told you about that helped me basically transform my body, she and I become best friends. And we got our Spartan trifecta, and we went to Lake Tahoe in 2015 and did the Beast. And that was crazy. It was just, the altitude was ridiculous, and it was 15 miles of grueling everything. But it was a blast. So I would totally do it again. Anyway, but the reason why I share some of that with you is because I didn't grow up in fitness. I didn't study fitness. I didn't go to school for it. I wouldn't even call myself a personal trainer. I just have lived through experience, been on both sides, and I now, without a doubt, believe with all of my heart that anything is possible, and the only person that holds you back is you. And because we're the ones who are telling ourselves that we can't do something, and the reality is, how will you know if you don't really give it your all? And when my mindset changed, I had a mantra, and I'm big on mantras, and we'll probably talk about that too at some time, was giving up is no longer an option. Because that was the one thing every single time for whatever it was that I was doing, is I was giving up. And that was just selling myself short. So anyway, there's so much there. Let's see. Questions. You guys have any questions or thoughts? What time is it? 10:37. Okay, so we're 37 minutes in. So I want to be mindful. Oh, I'm going to ask you guys a poll. Be thinking about your questions. I want some questions. Okay, it's going to take me a second because I'm going to create a poll, but I have to ask it. There's nothing. You're right. Honestly, when you train for a race, it is grueling. Some of those runs are hard, huh? Let's see. Mornings. Almost done. All right. And let's go ahead and preview this poll. All right. Okay. So this is again, this is asking if mornings or evenings work better for my live show, because I know that everybody is going to be different. You know, I know a lot of people work. I know a lot of moms are running their kids around. So evenings are good. Okay, awesome. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. So keep on answering, because I want to know. Then I'm going to be asking, like, what day of the week. If we go evenings, I'm kind of thinking, you know, around Monday, Motivational Monday, I'm thinking that maybe we should have some kind of a motivational subject or live show on Mondays. But maybe you guys feel differently, because another day that might be good would be Sundays. Saturdays, I think, are hard for everybody. I know that most of my Saturdays are filled with other obligations. But Sunday evening, maybe before you start your new week, that could be a good time. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, let's get back up there. All right, so far everybody is going for evenings. Awesome. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions over here. I'm totally going to look up Bollywood, though. I love anything with a beat. Let's just be honest. Sometimes I have to be careful with a with the hip hop. I grew up north of Seattle. I'm totally old school. I've listened to hip hop since I was a teenager, and I still love the beat. But my son, my teenage son, is the one who's always reminding me now of the lyrics. Do you guys not hear the words? Like, I do not listen to words ever. Like, with the exception of the songs that I've known from a young age, the stuff that's new now, like, I'll pick up a few things here and there, but I don't hear the words. Okay, so lunchtime would be a good idea too. Okay. What about, okay, so if we did a Sunday or a Monday, what if we could do early morning when people are doing cardio, or we could do a half an hour in the evening? Thoughts? Okay. All right. Okay, so it looks like evenings are the clear winner. Let's go ahead and do first. No, okay, we're gonna do this. Let's see. Let's end the poll. Takes everything a second for it to show up. Okay, I'm gonna do the sponsorship. We're gonna do our giveaway. Get that started. All right, I'm gonna start the giveaway. Ooh, and it's gonna show you pictures. It's gonna show you pictures of all of the bottles. Okay, it's gonna take a second. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you guys something if it will let me. Oh, it might not. I'll probably have to wait then. Okay. So I was hoping I was going to share my screen and show you some of the pictures from over the years, as well as show you the picture of all of the different bottles. You're looking at them there, but you're not seeing the filters. But you can see just how pretty some of them are. Yeah, everybody, you guys, anybody who's on here, make sure you enter the contest, because if you enter, you have an opportunity. You have to be here when it's chosen, but you know, we're going to be like doing that right away. So make sure that you enter. You have a really good chance of winning these, and they're awesome, you guys. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Okay, and then just chat over in the window. Tell me if you think Sunday or Monday, ideally, if one of those would work better for you for the next one. Okay, so what's your go-to breakfast? I kind of go back and forth. Like as of late, I have not been eating very much, if anything, before I go train. I'm usually up by 5 a.m. And so I go to, there you go, Lexi, there's the answer. So last year I was getting up at 4:30, but this year I'm getting up at 5. I put my Zane on B track, so he goes to school a little bit later. So I try to be to the gym by 5:30, and I just don't like to have a lot of food in my belly. So, but when I get home, that's when that's when I have something yummy. So I'll usually either have oatmeal. I love cream of rice, and then I'll have it with a side of egg whites, but then I will put fruit into it. So, and sometimes I'll actually cook some of the eggs in the cream of rice, because then it cooks up and it's just like, it's almost like you have more, which is, you know, I like food, but I love it with peaches. And then I'll add some of the pumpkin pie spice and a little bit of like coconut milk. It just makes it super creamy. So, but I usually have egg whites first thing in the morning for my protein. When do you sleep? I pretty much start to fade by 8:30, and that's pretty sad. I really, really try to make it last, but I have to be in bed by 10 or I'm an absolute grump the next day. So, okay, Mondays are good. What other questions? We have 19 seconds. Make sure that you enter if you haven't done it yet. We're going to find out here soon. Okay, I should know this, but do you track macros? Not all the time, but there are times that I do, and we will talk about that in a completely different episode. I'll walk you through it for sure. Macros are awesome. Okay, let's go back to that here in a second. We're first gonna go ahead and spin this wheel, and then we'll go back to macros. Okay, so this is everybody who entered. We're gonna spin it. Isn't that so cool, you guys? I mean, seriously, is this not the neatest platform ever? Such a fun way to get you guys engaged. It's a way we can all participate. Oh my goodness. Robin. Oh no, just kidding. Oh my, it's still going. I guess we're gonna have to wait till it to really, really stop. Is it going to stop? I don't have to do something, do I? Okay, Lexi saying no, it will stop. Okay, it's just, you know, it's definitely it's the wheel that keeps on going. I feel bad though because it keeps stopping and it's starting, and people are probably like, "It's me." Oh no, it's not me. Okay, all right. I feel like we're almost there. Somebody. Oh, there. Okay. Oh, now we know without a doubt who it is. Okay, Christy. Christy, you are the winner. Right. Let's see. So I can actually hold on. Just trying to remember. I apologize, you guys. This is my first time, so I want to be able to bring her up to the snow camera, but thank you. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so usually at this point, there's a chance, there's an opportunity for I could bring you up on the stage. So that's also one of the cool things, you guys. Going forward, there's going to be times when I can bring you on the stage so that you can share a story or just have some fun with me. Or I might invite somebody to be a special guest. That might be an expert on whatever, or just somebody that I really admire. So anyway, we'll be doing that. But usually when there's a winner, if you have a camera, I can bring the winner on stage. But Christy doesn't have a camera. So, but Christy, so glad that you won it. I think that you're really going to love them. I was a little bit overwhelmed when I saw how many bottles I received. There's definitely enough for the whole family. Or if you're like me and sometimes you forget them in the car, you'll probably always have a clean one back in your cabinet. So that's awesome. And then you guys can probably see there. Let's see, disconnect. This will work for my son. That's so awesome. Okay, and giveaway. So you see, it looks like there's a 15% off entire purchase. So you guys, let me just tell you some of the their channels if you want to go check them out. It's just, if you go to Instagram, it's refresh2go. So it's refresh with the number 2 go. It's the same thing on Facebook, refresh2go. If you want to find them on Pinterest, it's the same thing. And it's just refresh2go.com. So go check them out if you have a chance. That discount is made available for everybody. Okay, so again, back to the macros. I do, if I am day to day, I think that numbers can be really overwhelming. And I have been through this where I've gotten so focused on the numbers and on the macros that I forget about balance and life. And it sounds like, oh, like that would never happen to me. I can't even imagine that. I'm telling you that there's a real risk when you get so fixated, just like if you get so fixated on the scale, or if you get so fixated on hitting a certain number or being a certain number or hitting your macros. It can be a tool to help you, but if it starts to dominate your day, that's a scary place to be. So I do use it, not the majority of the time, but if I'm trying to lean out for something, for instance, I'm going to California in a few weeks. My company, She Gear, is sponsoring a bunch of swag bags for this women's festival called the LA Femme Festival. And I'm going to be wearing some black dresses during that time. So I want to make sure that I look my best. So I am counting macros right now, but as soon as I get back from that, I will not. So probably easily 8 to 9 months out of the year, I just use good judgment. I kind of know what my body is used to, and I look at myself in the mirror and how I feel in clothes. That dictates how much I need to tighten things up. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Feel free if you have anything else, any other questions that you want to ask. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap this up. We'll make a decision on when we want to do the next one. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I want to ask or say. Okay. Did I miss anything? Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule. What is, there we go. Okay, so you guys, if we did next Monday, the 2nd, let's say, if we did Mountain Standard Time, would that work? 6:30 p.m. next, because that way it's 5:30 for Pacific. It's even later for everybody else on Central and Eastern. You guys want to give that a try? What we could do is try a few different ones over the next few weeks and just see where we get the most audience. And between now and then, I'll make sure I'll lay out what my schedule or what the show is going to be about so that you can opt in. Let's do that. Let's plan on next Monday at 6:30 Mountain Standard. I will schedule it on here as soon as we wrap up. And like I said, I'll post the schedule, what's going to be there, what we're going to be talking about. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you follow, because that way when I do post it, you're going to be notified and you'll know exactly what's coming up. And then also just be thinking about, what are some questions that you have? What do you like for real? I've been through adrenal fatigue. I've been through overtraining. I've had food. I mean, I'm giving you all my dirty laundry here. I've had food issues. Like, I've learned a lot of things the hard way, but I also feel that it puts me in a position now where I feel healthier and better than ever to be honest. Like, I can share with you some of the things that have worked for me and some of the things maybe to steer clear from. But if you have questions on running, on competing, I'm an NPC judge now too. So competing, I'm happy to help you with any questions that you have there. Women's issues in general, we can just shoot the breeze talking about how much it sucks getting older, whatever. I want to hear from you guys. Okay. I think that's it. And we're 51 minutes in, and I just don't want to keep you guys any longer. So, okay, I think that's it. So I love you guys. Thank you, everybody who came this first time. It's going to get bigger and better as we go. I just appreciate your time. And I think it's amazing. It's such a fun platform. I'm so grateful to Gravy Live for making me a founding host. This is fun, and this is new to me. So like, all of the social media that I've done has always been just stagnant. So I've never been a live streamer. So you'll have to bear with me, but today was a lot better than even what I expected. So thank you guys for making it easy for me. Okay, let's see, there's more questions. Okay, I think that's it. So plan on Monday, 6:30, and I'll see you then. Thank you guys.